Hey buddy, Crow here, and as you may very well be aware of by this point, there are 61 tables that are going to be removed from the Pinball Arcade. All the Bally Williams tables that are available for purchase now will not be available for purchase after June 30th, but if you did purchase those tables previous to June 30th, you will get to keep them in your library, even re-download them if necessary. And due to that, there were a bunch of people that were asking me what tables I recommended, and it was very hard for me to say, you should recommend, I recommend this table, this table, this table, because I like so many of the tables that are disappearing. So I really thought about it, and I was like, you know what if I were to just nail down a list of 10 tables that I were to recommend? And I almost didn't even do that, because once I started to looking at the list of tables, I felt like, I come up with 10 tables, then I wanted to include this one and this one and this one. I kept wanting to add more, but I forced myself to only pick 10 tables, even though there are a lot more tables that I'd want to include. So this is going to be a list of 10 tables that I recommend in no particular order. It might be a little bit complicated because on some platforms you can't just buy the individual tables, you have to buy the whole season. But we're just going to pretend that you could buy these tables individually. And here are the tables I recommend. If there are tables that you want to recommend that I didn't mention in this video, go ahead and leave a comment. And if I get a lot of tables that I didn't recommend in the comments, maybe I'll do a follow-up video and say, hey, these are the ones that were recommended in the comments. So, all that being said, let's move on with the first one. This will probably be in the order of their release date. So, number 1. Alright, for the first table on this list, I've got Medieval Madness from Season 1. This is an easy table to recommend because it's got a nice, easy goal for beginners, which would be knocking down the castle gates and destroying the castle, which is satisfying in its own right. But then you'll find yourself having fun aiding in peasant revolts, jousting, rescuing princesses, and shooting the catapult, all while trying to stack multi-ball madness modes. The humor in this table will keep you entertained while you play. There's so much more here, but I want to keep these quick, so I'll just say I highly recommend this one if you haven't bought it already.
Yes! Catapult! Multi-ball madness! Super jackpot!
Next from Season 1, we have FunHouse. Now I like this table, but one of the reasons I'm including this on my list is because my wife really likes this table. It's one of her favorites in real life as well as in digital form, going as far back as the Pinball Hall of Fame Williams collection on the Xbox 360. The main attraction here is the head of Rudy, who is constantly keeping his eye on the ball as you knock it around his funhouse. He'll give you hints on what to do, but mostly he'll insult you, but you can get back at him when you shoot the ball in his mouth for a multi-ball. It can be an easy table to play once you get the hang of it, but it's always entertaining. Up next we have Monster Bash from Season 1. This is a no-brainer for me to recommend, as the entertainment level on this one is off the charts. It's up to you to collect the Universal movie monsters and get them together to form a band. Like Medieval Madness, the humor really keeps you entertained on this one as you perform shots necessary to get each monster to join the band. Once the band is formed and the Monster Bash begins, I personally get a charge of the song that's played during the madness that is the Monster Bash mode.
Hello, Transylvania! Let's rock!
Next up is Twilight Zone, also from Season 1. I'll start off by saying that you don't need to know anything about the Twilight Zone to enjoy this table. I know, because back when I originally played this in arcades, I hadn't seen any episodes. But since then I have, and the only thing it really adds is now I know what all the references are from. But either way, this is a great table with some tricks up its sleeve, like battling the power, and magnetic flippers or activating the power ball, a ceramic ball that behaves differently from the regular metal ball. Some of the modes create a great audio-visual effect, especially when a multi-ball is activated.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Alright, this is the last one from Season 1, and that's going to be Attack from Mars. This table always reminded me of Medieval Madness because the goals are so similar to me. In Medieval Madness, you're shooting up the center to destroy a castle, whereas in Attack from Mars, you're shooting up the center to destroy a UFO. The style of humor is identical as well, except here the humor is derived around aliens attacking Earth and the countries of the world fighting back. I had thought about leaving this one off the list since I find it so similar to Medieval Madness, and personally I like that one just a little bit more, but since they're both such great tables, I just have to recommend this one as well. And from Season 2, I have Centaur. I didn't know if I should include this table on my list because I know not everyone would like this table, but this is one of my favorites from Bally. It has a unique theme and look with the entire playfield done in primarily black and white, and the voice of Centaur is awesome as well as it's this loud, booming, echoing voice. The gameplay itself is pretty unique as well as it has you hitting captive balls to hit inline drop targets, as well as hitting other drop targets in order to get the game to shoot more balls onto the playfield. I think it's great because once you get into multi-ball, it becomes easier for you to get the game to just keep shooting more and more balls onto the playfield. I also like that the outlines have posts that allow you to attempt to bump the ball back into the in lane and save the ball if you can skillfully nudge the table. And next up, from Season 4, it's the Addams Family. And this table's based on the 1991 Addams Family movie, and also happens to be one of the best-selling pinball machines of all time. This table was practically everywhere when I was a kid in high school, and as a result, I played it a lot back then. This version of the table brings back a lot of those memories for me, and it's always fun to see Thing pop out of the box and grab the ball, or to play certain modes like the Mamushka, and especially to activate multi-ball, where the magnets in the middle of the playfield become active and start throwing your ball around unpredictably. This is one of those tables Farsight had to run funds through Kickstarter to get all the licensing for this table to begin with, and it's just unfortunate that it has to be removed from purchase as of June 30th.
Now you've done it.
And now, from Season 5, I have to recommend the Getaway High Speed 2. Because for the longest time, this was my favorite pinball machine of all time, so of course I'm going to recommend it here. As the sequel to High Speed, the layout is very similar, but there are some major improvements and upgrades when this sequel came out. The DMD display with fun animations, a great video mode, a great soundtrack, a supercharger that shoots the ball around in an elevated track, but honestly, my favorite feature in this table is the gear shifter. It's used to launch the ball, but it's also used to shift gears as you increase speed while playing, with the tachometer conveniently on display in the center of the playfield. The only major downside to this digital version is that you can't see the police flashers on top of the back box go off when the police are in pursuit.
Dispatch, this is 504. Suspect with a red light. Over. Roger, 504. Apprehend him.
And from Season 6, I have to recommend Doctor Who. I was incredibly happy when Farsight was able to bring this table to the Pinball Arcade through Kickstarter because I didn't know if they would be able to get the licensing for this to begin with. This is another one of those tables I enjoyed playing a lot while in high school, and that was before I'd even seen a single Doctor Who episode. I was just blown away by the way the time expander on the playfield lifted up, and then lifted up even higher to allow you to attack those Daleks. Honestly, my favorite part of the game is to get multi-ball and then hear the Daleks scream as you take them out. The table can be a bit complicated once you start looking into the scoring, and then there's also the fact that you can select the different doctors for different scoring possibilities, but I find the table fun enough if you ignore all that as well. And for the last table here, from Season 7, I have to recommend Banzai Run. To date, Banzai Run is the most recent release on the Pinball Arcade, which is so awkward that it's on this list to begin with. But I have to include this as a recommendation because of how straightforward and fun the table is. This is basically a dirt bike race where you challenge other racers, and in a twist, you send the ball to a secondary playfield on the back box to hit the targets necessary to beat the racers you've challenged. A simple concept, but fun nonetheless. That combined with a great soundtrack, and it's an easy table to recommend.
Freestyle, red hot. What a move on Yellow Belly and Green Machine. He's moved into second place.
And those are the 10 tables I could recommend for those asking which Bally Williams tables they should get before June 30th. Honestly, I could easily find a reason to recommend all 61 that are being removed, but like I said, I forced myself to choose only 10. If you want to recommend tables I didn't mention, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and if there's enough recommendations, I may go ahead and do a follow-up to this video. Thanks everyone for watching. See you all next time.